Hi, everybody, and welcome to this Facebook Live coming at you from beautiful Boston. And there actually has been a spring this year, so that's good. Waiting for a little warmer weather, but we've had some really nice days. Anyhow, today is about how to get abounding energy and abounding abundance. And I know I talk to a lot of people, and what I hear from them, and you might have said this before in your life. Have you ever heard, oh, I'm just so exhausted. I'm tired, or I'm sick and tired. I'm just exhausted. And, when you talk to somebody like that, and I've had in a conversation, somebody say this like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, I'm exhausted just by the end of it. So how is your life? When you're exhausted, are you in peak performance mode, or are you in reactive mode, just getting by? And a lot of times the answer is reactive mode. You're exhausted because you might be overwhelmed, or you feel like you're one of those people in the circus, the guys that spin the plates. They go from one, they go to the other, and when one goes down, they go to the other, they go to that, and they're just exhausted by the end of it. Because again, it's reactive, it's not proactive. So the question is, how do I get abounding energy? And I came up with this exercise, and I never shared it before, so I'm excited to share it. And by the way, there is a cheat sheet. I don't know if you can see it now, if anybody watching it. Hi, Tita. Hi, Mom. Got some moms always there. But got some people watching. I don't know if you could put a comment and see if you see the link. But afterwards, I know there'll be a link that says a cheat sheet to the energy enhancers. Because when you do this exercise, it really opens up your eyes and you realize what you've been focusing on. So what you do, if you don't know, if yesterday you didn't already download the cheat sheet, just take a piece of paper, draw a line right down the middle of it. And on the left side, you're going to write down energy zappers. And on the right side, you're going to write down the energy enhancers. And when I talk, first of all, when I talk about exhaustion, there's exhaustion in a couple different ways. There could be physical exhaustion, but there's also mental exhaustion a lot. And they kind of interrelate, because if you're mentally exhausted, you're going to feel physically exhausted. And if you're physically exhausted, you're going to feel mentally exhausted. So they both go together. But certain things on your list, and we're going to go over that now, certain things on your energy zappers could be mentally exhausting. They could be physically exhausting. Like, I know when I had our first child and there wasn't a lot of sleep going on, I was physically exhausted. I've also had areas in my life where I had some worries going on, and I worked myself into a frenzy, and I was mentally exhausted. But either way, that exhausted state did not lead to a very productive Mike. So just imagine now, if you had that abundant energy, that energy like the ever-ready battery bunny, or however you say that they're just going around, and naturally too. And I'm not talking about hyped up on caffeine or anything like that, but just a natural state of energy, of feeling naturally high. How is your relationships going to be? How is your career, your business going to be if you have more energy? How is your health going to be, and being able to accomplish your health goals if you had more energy? It all works together. So this is pretty exciting. So take that piece of paper and write down your energy zappers. And let me give you some examples. Some of them could be, well, I'm just overwhelmed with so many activities. I have, 3 kids, and they're in 2 sports, and they have after school programs. I'm just exhausted, just mentally trying to organize it, and physically exhausted, running up and down the street, going back and forth. I remember where my kids grew up. I was beautiful house on this nice road, but we were the only ones that had kids, in school at the time. It was all younger people around, and they would see me drive up and down, up and down, up and down, and they'd be laughing. And I'm like, you just wait a few years when you guys start having kids and you're driving back and forth. And you know what? They remembered that, because when they had kids, they said, you know what? You're right. I know how you felt. So anyhow, that could be one. Another one, you might be going through some financial difficulties and you're in debt, and that's weighing on you. So that's an energy zapper. Another one could be you're holding some type of resentment. Somebody might have wronged you, or an organization might have wronged you, and you're holding that bitterness, and that's just zapping away at your energy. So hopefully that gets you kind of going a little bit. Hey, Dan, how you doing? Patricia, great to see you. Jillian. So take a little bit of time. And again, this might seem simple, but you want to write it down. And this isn't to get you negative and to write down all the wrong things in your life, but you have to face it. And you're going to see how this all comes together at the end. So take your time. I'm trying to think of some other examples. I'm looking at some actual cases that I work with people. And by the way, this does take some time if you really get into it, because I'll dedicate a whole hour session to this, and we might not even get through it, because when you start breaking them down and fixing them, it's amazing the aha light bulbs that go off, and you're like, wow, I didn't even think about that. And it's cool when it all comes together. And when I'm working with somebody and they're like scratching their head at first, well, I don't really know, I just feel exhausted, but I'm just exhausted. I don't know why. It's like, well, let's write it down, and then they would write it down and they'd start explaining it. I'm like, okay, we'll have plenty of time to explain it. Just write it down, get on a roll, just boom, 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 boom. And, by the time we're done, there's usually 10, 15 things on there. All right. And then what I do is on the right-hand side is I say, okay, now what I want you to do is I want to write down your energy enhancers. What are things that get you naturally high? What gives you that energy? For example, for some people, it might be they love being outdoors. They go for a walk. So they go for a walk and they get energized. Other people, it could be intimacy in their relationship. It could be pumping up people. I know, like when I inspire people, when I talk to somebody and, I kind of get going and my hands go all over the place, but my heart rate goes and I just get this energy. And when I'm done with them, I feel like I can run, 10 miles. So take a second and just write down all the things that get you going. I gave you a couple examples. So I'm going to give you a second here and hopefully you're writing this down. If not, you can do it afterwards, because I'm telling you, it is definitely worth it. Okay, so here we go. Now, again, simplicity is the key here. If you feel exhausted and you want more energy, you look at your list and you say, okay, I need to do less of these and more of these. So the idea is to either eliminate, or you can't eliminate all of your zappers, but if you can't exactly eliminate them, what you can do is you can reframe your mind and look at them from a different perspective. And I'm going to give you some examples in a second. Then you look at the other side and say, okay, energy enhancers, I got to be doing more of this. And it doesn't happen all the time, but once in a while, somebody says, well, I have absolutely no time to do anything that makes me happy. Because I love that saying that says, do what you love what you do. If you don't have time to love what you're doing and you're not doing that, then you got to really evaluate your life, and no wonder you're exhausted. So we gotta really work on eliminating those zappers, and let's work on this list for enhancers, because I'm telling you, it truly is great to be alive. Now, don't get me wrong. I have my down moments. We all do, but there's a lot more fun to it than there's not. And again, it's your focus. So now that you've written it down and you say, okay, here's my energy zappers, here's my energy enhancers. And you'll find when I go through the energy zappers with people and we really dissect and break it down and reframe it or eliminate it, a lot of times it could be including the enhancers in there where they didn't know they can do it. For example, I was talking to one business owner, and one of his energy zappers was this person. We all had those that you work with or have worked for you, and they just drain you. It's like, oh, yeah, there's a lot going on with your business, but this one person just absolutely zaps your energy. And all you do is you think about this person, Well, you look at it and say, okay, I could eliminate it. Do I fire this person? Or if you're working with the person, you can't fire them, but maybe you reframe your thoughts. And in reframing your thoughts, you're like, okay, maybe I'll look at this person a little differently. And there's a 6-step process that I go through, which will be another episode that we do. But one of the things is realize you don't have control over this person. You don't. They are who they are, they do what they do, and they're that way because of a reason. And you have to pray for them and, let go of any resentment, pray for them, hopefully that they get blessed, and kind of reframe it. So this one guy, he was looking at it and he's like, okay, He's driving me crazy. All I do is I get down on him. I do this, I do that. And I said, well, let's look at some of your enhancers. And one of them was loves to pump somebody up. So all of a sudden the eyes kind of lit up and he's like, oh, well, instead of concentrating on this one guy and putting all my energy in this one guy, what about the other 90% of the people there? Why don't I spend time pumping those people up? And it's amazing. So he went and he started pumping up everybody else around him, and the business started flourishing. That other person, I think they actually started catching on, and they kind of turned their attitude around, because negative people, if you're positive, they don't hang around you too long because you're going to drive them away. They're going to be like, if I can't drag this person down to my level, I'm getting out of here. So by shifting it and by doing one of his enhancers, he was able to really get his business going, his mindset, and he didn't concentrate and focus on that one bad person, but he concentrated on all the good people there, and it turned everything around. Same thing with if you feel overwhelmed, if you have kids. I know when I was, there was one point that I was overwhelmed. Okay. Remember the guy spinning the plates? I was the chairman of the Cub Scouts. I was running the Bible study for the teenagers at our church, and I was coaching 2 sports, and I had 2 kids in sports. I almost had a breakdown. And finally I had to realize, I said, okay, I love my kids, but they're not going to be professional sport players, So let's start cutting it down. And I had to look at it, and I said, okay, if this is my zapper, maybe I could get a little more organized with my time, or better yet, I'm a type of person, it's hard for me to say no. I kept on saying yes, yes, yes. I had to learn the skills of being able to say no, so it freed up some of my time. So I realized that the zappers were really under my control because I had control over my schedule. I just had to learn some skills on how to say no. And I also had to tell my kids, hey, you're only going to do one thing. You're not going to do 3 things. I don't care if the neighbor's kid's doing 3 things or something like that. You're only going to do this. So take some time. And if you need more help with this, if you download that zapper, I'm offering a little bonus to be able to go over a free session with you on how to really recognize this and how to dissect it and how to do it. I can't do everybody, so maybe like the first 5 or 10 people, that private message me or let me know, I'll get back to you, and I could really walk you through this because it's really important. So today, have some fun, look at your energy enhancers, and just do more of them. Because remember, you have to do it. Do what you love and love what you do. Have a great day, everybody. I really hope this helps you out, and God bless.